Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Lunch Table. I'm your host, Ben Houselog, a.k.a. Ben Like Sports, a.k.a. we need to get done with football analytics in general. And we just finished up a Thursday night football game between the Eagles and the Commanders. It is currently 10:22 p.m. in eastern Iowa. It's like 30 degrees outside. It's getting cold, man. It's getting cold, and you'll see that all across the NFL. But the Eagles just beat the Commanders 26-18 in a very sloppy and honestly not fun Thursday night football game. We got a lot of that, plus Sunday. All this coming up on Lunch Table. Shannon Sharp, take it away.
Yams, collard greens, mac and cheese.
The Commanders led most of this game. That is a bona fide fact. The Eagles dominated time possession, but the Commanders, they were running the ball well, and they were playing defense. They were up, I believe, 10-6. Eagles come down. Saquon gets tackled on the 1-yard line, so you know what that means. Tush push into the end zone. Jake Elliott then misses the extra point, which means 2-point ball game. Jake Elliott was struggling all night. 2 missed field goals, missed extra point. So the Commanders get the ball, down 2, drive into Eagles territory, right? And they get to 2nd and inches around the 30-yard line. Dream scenario for any football team, right? They end up getting a 4th and 2. And everybody in the world is like, kick this. If you kick it, you go up 1. The Eagles haven't been able to move the ball all night. But everybody in the analytics world, analytics say go for this. Let's be honest here. That was not 2 yards. That is like someone on Tinder saying that they're 6 foot when they're really 5'9". That was kind of a stretch to call it 2 yards. It looked kind of like 3 to me. 3 of anything is a lot. 3 inches, a lot. 3 yards, quite a lot. And they pull it and run to the boundary with their quarterback. Once again, I'm just a guy chatting in a spare bedroom. But that was nuts. That was crazy. You have the chance to go up 1 when you've controlled the whole game. And instead of that, you go for it, don't get it, give the Eagles a short field. They go down. They score with Saquon. Jaden Daniels gets the ball. Now you're down 9. He goes down. Guess what? Throws a pick. Saquon scores again. They get up 16. Commanders move down the field. Score. Get a 2-pointer. Guess what? Too little, too late. Eagles win in a game that honestly the Commanders should have won. But once again, they listened to the analytics guy instead of just realizing, hey, we've been playing pretty well. We should probably take our points. There's not a lot of points. If you watch this game, there was not a lot of points to be had. The score, it looked like a normal football score. That's because at the end of the game, people just kind of gave up some touchdowns. Obviously, that may have been the dumbest statement I have ever said in my life on this show. But Saquon Barkley is absolutely nuts. Every single time I see him play, I like to think that there's a Giants fan just in tears. Because you let that man go, and he is just running wild in Philly. Jalen Hurts does not look good throwing the ball. He missed numerous open receivers tonight, but it doesn't matter when you have Saquon Barkley. As for the Commanders, yes, they're a playoff team, but they didn't establish the run well enough in the second half, and they didn't play good enough defense. Championship weather, the temperature drops, they couldn't pass it well. Neither team could pass the ball well. That's what's going to happen. Eagles in the fourth quarter took them out to the woodshed. Ended it. Now, they're looking at a wild card spot instead of hosting a game. Obviously, there's a lot more season to go, but let's be real, man. Not concerning, but demoralizing. Because the Commanders are still looking for that one signature win. I'm thinking good wins. The Bears, but that was kind of a fluky win. Great play, still kind of a fluky win because of a crazy play. Bengals, great game. But the Bengals defense doesn't look that great. I'm still looking for them to face a team and really put it on them. Cardinals, there we go. But the Cardinals were kind of in a slump when they played. I want to see the Commanders go head-to-head against a team that's playing really well and handle business. And they had all the opportunity to handle the business against the Eagles, and they didn't kick that field goal. That is such a momentum swing. I know there's going to be a lot of people. Ben, momentum isn't a thing in sports. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You don't know momentum until you have been up 21 points at halftime and ended up losing the game, as I have done numerous times in my career. Probably an indictment on me and my football skills, but I digress. Eagles, 26. Commanders, 18. Moving on. There are some games on Saturday. Not really going to talk about them. You know why? We have an absolute stacked slate of Sunday football. Last Sunday was underwhelming, if I do say so myself. Not a lot of touchdowns scored. There was a big discourse going on social media talking about, is the NFL product bad? Is the NFL product bad? Like, bro, did you not see 2 weeks ago, we literally witnessed someone volleyball set into the end zone and deliver one of the greatest wins in Commanders history? What are we doing here? Recency bias has gotten out of control. It has gotten out of control. But there are a lot of very, very big games happening this weekend. Playoff implications. Haymaker team against haymaker team. Top of the division against top of the division. Divisional battles left and right. It's going to be cinema. And we start out with one of the games that's not exactly high profile, with the Raiders at the Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins kind of shocked the world a little bit. I wasn't expecting them to beat the Rams. But I have scrubbed that episode from memory because I'm not going to put that out there. I'm never going to show anybody I was ever wrong. Just kidding. Actually, our most viewed video. The Dolphins are rolling. And the crazy thing is, they won a game without really utilizing Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle. They have yet to start cooking on offense. Tua is looking better and better each week when he's not throwing a pick and headbutting the guy that caught the pick. Look, man, I'm not even going to go down that road. I'm not even going to go down that road. It is Thursday night. I'm a little sick. Shouldn't give myself a headache before bedtime. Agreed? Agreed. Dolphins are rolling. The Raiders are struggling. We do have Gardner Minshew playing this game, but Tyreek Hill has been quiet almost all year. And he did have that one game right after he got arrested, over 100 yards and a touchdown, but that really only came from one catch. Other than that, he's been lackluster. Sure, you could throw it on Tua wasn't in there at the start of the year after the Buffalo game, but now that Tua's back, he's not exactly doing the greatest. He's kind of banged up here and there. Honestly, it looks like the Dolphins' best offensive player is Devon Achane. Tyreek has been quiet. But he doesn't stay quiet for long. And against a Raiders secondary that isn't exactly the greatest, I feel like this could be a Tyreek Hill breakout game. I feel like this is a game that is at the perfect time for the Dolphins. You beat a Rams team that no one expected you to beat. You're not out of it. The Jets are falling back. AFC, kind of up for grabs. Obviously, you have teams like the Chargers, the Broncos, the Ravens, the Steelers, throwing it up in the air to see who's it going to be. The Colts. Everybody's fighting for a spot, right? Dolphins aren't out of it yet. We know what they possess on offense. We know the speed they possess, the chunk plays. We saw how their defense was kind of rocking against the Rams. They shut down Matthew Stafford. You got to hang your head on that. But with that being said, this is a game that, yes, obviously this is a must win. This is a must blowout. This is a you must see your offense cook. You need Tyreek Hill to have a big game. That's what I think is going to happen. I'm playing him in fantasy, so I hope he doesn't. But I did trade him away, and now that he's playing me, it's going to happen. Tyreek Hill is coming for me. Not like that. Anyways, Dolphins, I think they win the game. All I got to say, pause on that last part. Moving on. We have the Jameis Winston Bowl. We have the Cleveland Browns going into New Orleans to play against the Saints. And the Saints got a little bit of swag. If you guys remember last week, they beat the Falcons. The man, Rizzy, the Rizzler, took a dump so massive that he clogged the head coach's toilet in the locker room. That's an alpha male move if I've ever seen one. He's a straight alpha male. Kevin Stefanski, still one of the best coaches in the NFL. I will stand by that. I'm taking a sip of my Propel. I don't know how many different beverages I've had in the month and a half that I've been doing this. It's been quite a lot. The Browns and the Saints are what I like to call just having fun at this point. It's not like they're out here trying to make the playoffs. The Saints, maybe if they were in the AFC, but they're in the NFC. The Browns, you're in the AFC North. Probably the hardest division to get into the playoffs in. You're behind 3 teams who are playoff caliber teams. You're cooked. And it's okay. It's okay. There has to be someone at the bottom of the pack. The Browns are kind of used to it. But this is the Jameis Winston revenge game. You guys remember how they did him in New Orleans? I still got the Saints, though. I feel like Rizzy has lit a fire in everybody in there, especially that toilet. He's lit a fire. And fire is hard to put out, especially because it's going to be at the Saints. Let me make sure about that. I don't want to say it is going to be at the Saints. See, sometimes I do my research and I just kind of wing it, you know? I don't have a fact checker. Like I said, I don't get money off this show. It is what it is. But give me the Saints to beat the Browns. And moving on, we have the Colts going in to MetLife Stadium to play the Jets, and Anthony Richardson is back. You know who is not back is the Jets. They thought they were. I saw a side-by-side of Aaron Rodgers and Zach Wilson from last year. And if you were to tell a Jets fan this, they would probably put a bounty on your head at the start of the season. But Zach Wilson last year has played better than Aaron Rodgers this year. And that's a fact. That is a fact. With worse weapons, too. The Jets defense, who we all thought was top of the league, has been getting ran through. Like the Saints locker room toilet in Darren Rizzi. I don't know why it's stuck in my head, but that's so baller, man. Just gets out there and tells everybody. That's asserting dominance. Jets are shaky. It is not completely over. If they win out and have a couple things happen, they'll make the playoffs. But it is pretty close to Jover. It is pretty close to over. For Anthony Richardson, this is the get-right game. You're playing against a team that honestly is looking to be put out of its misery. Everyone's kind of forgotten about you. People have kind of written you off in a way. Who does that sound like? Bryce Young. Obviously not comparable, but everyone's written off Anthony Richardson. He said he's learned his lesson. He sat, he watched. Maybe he got healthier. Probably did. And now you're on the road against the Jets, who a lot of people are going to talk about. Well, the Jets defense, they're not good. They can't tackle. I'm telling you, what I saw last week against the Cardinals was a team that laid down. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying not to be a super judgmental guy, but I call it like I see it, and my glasses on. Shout out to Lil Wayne. The Colts need a win, especially with Houston losing last week. They need a win because Houston doesn't exactly have a walk-around game either. Houston isn't exactly beating the brakes off teams either. I mean, they just got 5 picks and lost. You're not out of it in the AFC South. If you can get Anthony Richardson some confidence, we know what he's like with confidence. We have seen the throws he's able to make. Sure, they're far and few in between, but he has the ability to do so. That is huge. That is something that everybody saw coming into the draft. That's why he was drafted so high. He's shown the potential. Okay, kid, didn't work out. We benched you for a little bit. They just said he's starting for the rest of the season. That's full belief. Look, we pulled you. I'm sorry. We made a mistake. Go out there. Go out there and have fun. This is the ultimate scenario for Anthony Richardson. Nobody's expecting anything of him. Early in the season, what did people expect? Oh, he came off an injury, second year. He had all this time to learn. He's so athletic, strong, making all the throws. We're expecting a huge season. He didn't deliver. So they benched him for Flacco. Now, all right, Anthony, just go out there and play. No pressure. That is a blessing for a young quarterback to have. For any player to have. How many times have you seen it? Darnold in Minnesota. Baker Mayfield in Tampa. all of these times that it's happened, they've shown the ability to, yes, they're a little careless with the ball. Who cares? Who cares? I'd rather have 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions than 1 touchdown and no interceptions. I'd rather have you be careless with the ball than extremely careful and not try to make the throws. Go out there and earn it, man. Go out there and have fun, bro. That's what I think is going to happen. But I still think the Jets are going to win it. I do think the Jets are the better team. I don't know why. Probably because I spent my whole entire life watching Aaron Rodgers play football, and I feel like that second half of Houston, Rodgers is going to come out like he did on Halloween. But I don't know. Maybe because he saw RFK get put in charge of the whatever cabinet appointment. Maybe he's like, hey, now it's time to go. It's a bad joke. But seriously, hey, you never know what's going on in that guy's mind. Ever. I mean, every single offseason with Aaron Rodgers, it was like flipping a coin. Will he stay or will he go? What is he going to say on the Pat McAfee show this time? But I think we get a vintage enough Aaron Rodgers performance and the Jets win. Moving on to the Vikings at the Titans. I'm going to take a sip of my Propel. The Vikings kind of squeaked by Jacksonville last week. Didn't have a touchdown, threw a lot of picks in the red zone. It looked like Darnold was kind of going back to New York Jets Darnold. The Titans, however, they kind of started rolling a little bit. Will Levis came back. Calvin Ridley, Tony Pollard. They're a better team than what their record says, and I will stand by that. They are a team that you cannot take lightly, especially with the end zone boys. If you guys have seen them on TikTok, they heckle the opposing players. I'm guessing Justin Jefferson is looking for a masterclass. The Titans play teams close. They do. They've lost some pretty close games in tough ways. I can't get off it, though. I do have to pick the Vikings just because I do feel like they are the better team. I don't think Will Levis will be able to carve them up. Hope I'm wrong, because then that means the Packers get closer to the title of the division. I'm still holding out hope. I'm delusional like that, okay? But give me the Vikings to beat the Titans. But don't sleep on the Titans, man. Don't sleep. This is the NFL. Things happen every single week that make you question the NFL in general. Moving on. You have the Packers going into Soldier Field against the Bears. There are a lot of storylines in this one. Number one, Toyotathon starts tomorrow. If you don't know the legacy of Toyotathon Jordan Love, you need to look that up. You need to check your reference because he's a dog. When Toyotathon comes around, touchdowns are abound for Jordan Love. For the Bears, bad slide. Start out 4-2, now you're 4-5. Ruh-roh. You fired Shane Waldron. Everyone seems kind of happy about that. Now you have a new OC coming in. DJ Moore kind of looks like he doesn't want to be there. For the Packers, Jordan Love has kind of left a lot to be desired in the past couple weeks that he's played. I will be the first one to tell you that. He needs to have a good 4 quarters of football. He needs to. But with the Bears, they've shown some good plays. Their playbook isn't bad. It was just Waldron seemed a little cautious. The new OC? Sure, he's from Carolina last year. And I know everyone's pulling up the game against Bryce Young against the Packers. That's a Joe Barry defense. We don't talk about that game. That game doesn't count, okay? A lot of people are saying that this will be a massive Packers blowout in the Soldier Field. I am not an optimistic Packers fan. I always have caution whenever I watch this team play. They have broken my heart too many times. I think Caleb Williams plays a little bit better. Preston Smith isn't here anymore, so it's going to be Lucas Van Ness, Rashawn Gary, dial up some blitzes with Edgerrin Cooper, Devontae Wyatt in the middle. If they're playing, there's a lot of banged up players on the Packers. It happens. I do have the Packers winning this, but I think it will be closer than most people think. All right. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they blow out the Bears, and then so I can text all of the Bears fans I know, haha, LOL, You suck. I hope that happens. And I still will do that even if we lose. I'm still going to do it. It's a rite of passage. But I'm excited to see this one. Moving on, you have the Jaguars going into Ford Field against the Lions. I'm taking a sip of my Propel. Goff, last game, 5 picks, still led a game-winning drive, didn't he? Mac Jones is that quarterback for the Jaguars. Jags should not play Trevor Lawrence for the rest of the season. There's no choice. No chance. There shouldn't be a choice at it. You should sit him for the rest of his time this season. Mac Jones is that quarterback. But for the Lions, the debut of Zadarius Smith. Does he have any juice in him? He didn't when he went to the Vikings. But who knows? Looked good in the Browns. Now he's with the Lions. Maybe he has a little bit of juice left. He can provide some pressure. The Jags don't exactly have the greatest offensive line at all. And the Lions, well, last week was kind of it was a win, but it kind of felt like a stick in the spokes of the bike. But now it's time to see. You're back at home, playoff push to try to get the 1 seed. Can you do it? Can Jared Goff bounce back? And can they have a very good win over the Jags? I'm not talking 7 points. I'm talking 14-plus win. Put the belt to the butt of the Jaguars, and let's go. Jared Goff, you threw 5 picks. Who cares? Come out firing, please. Please, Jared Goff, come out firing. I want to make the playoffs in fantasy so bad. By the way, I don't think I updated you guys. I did win by the hair of my chinny chin chin. Shout out Devon Achane. He ran backwards a couple times. He just wanted to make me sweat it out, I guess. He wanted to see me all hot and sweaty. I don't blame him. I look good hot and sweaty. That just is what it is. But give me the Lions to beat the Jaguars. Moving on, you have the Rams, who honestly looked pretty bad against the Dolphins. We all thought, they're coming out. They got their O-lineman back. They look good. Sean McVay is a great coach. Their D-line looks nice. Jared Verse is going to be Rookie of the Year for the defensive side of the ball. And they dropped an egg. They dropped the ball on the ground a lot too. And in the hands of Dolphins players. They had a tough outing. But if there's one quarterback who I think can right the ship after a tough outing, it's Matthew Stafford. This is a bounce back spot against a Patriots team that has been getting better and better at defense. This is not a lackluster Patriots team, right? This is a team that's very capable. Drake May, very capable. Christian Gonzalez, one of the top cornerbacks in the league. I will shout that from the rooftops. He is one of the best corners in the league. Christian Barmore, thankfully, is back after the whole issue with, I think it was blood clotting. We are happy to see him back. He is one of the best interior D linemen in the league when he is healthy. And a lot of people have not been able to watch him play. Watch him play. He is nuts. He is a guy that coming out of college, Saban told Belichick, yeah, you want to get this guy. So they got that guy. Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp need to get something going. It's always a little bit, who's going to be the guy? As opposed to last year down the stretch, it was kind of, okay, now we're all clicking. Kyron Williams is a dog. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, they're all dogs. They have the pieces to put something special together. This is the NFC West we are talking about, though. Every single week matters. It's not like the Chiefs in the AFC West. You can afford to drop one. You can get comfortable a little bit. You can do that. Not in the NFC West, man. Every single team is gunning for that one wild card slot. You will have possibly 3 wild card. You have 3 wild card spots up for grabs. One is going to go to the NFC East, either the Commanders or the Eagles. One is going to go to the NFC North, Packers or the Vikings. So you kind of want to win and get that 3rd spot because you're competing against now the Packers and the Vikings because there's only 3 that can go. 7 seeds, right? 2 in the 7 play. The 1 gets the bye. That's what is at stake here. Now that you are off and into the back end of the season, you need to start looking long term. Every single game matters. With that being said, I am taking the Rams to beat the Patriots on the road. However, I would not be surprised to see the Patriots win, but I am taking the Rams. Moving on to what some are saying is the game of the week. This is a game that I am so freaking excited to watch. It sucks that it is at the noon slate, but what are you going to do? Because we have a lot of good games coming up. Battle for the AFC North. Ravens at the Steelers. Steelers are starting to kind of roll with Russ a little bit. George Pickens and Russ are starting to kind of connect. Every single week, it's getting better and better. You have Freiermuth. Now you have Mike Williams. Only 9 snaps, but he came in and he showed something, right? He showed promise. The Ravens DB room, and the Ravens secondary, I should say, is absolute cookies. They need to figure something out because we know who's in the AFC. The last time the Ravens played a really, really good team, what happened? They kind of spanked the Bills a little bit. Not even a little bit. They spanked the Bills. But now that DB room is looking, just not good. I don't know what Kyle Hamilton's status is. I'm looking it up right now. What is Kyle Hamilton's status? He is back at practice. It looks good. So he might play. That's good for the Ravens. In my opinion, I know this is controversial. I still think the Ravens are the best team in the league because I think that Lamar Jackson is the best player in the league. One-man offense, but now you have Derrick Henry who just runs through people's faces. Now you have Deontay Johnson. Sure, he hasn't looked great, but we know what he can do, and he now has another week in the offense. He's probably pretty angry because the Steelers shipped him off to Carolina. Once again, the Steelers shipped him off to Carolina. I'd be pretty angry about that. Deontay Johnson masterclass. You also have Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Wallace, Aguilar, Kolar, Andrews, Likely. You have a squad. But the Steelers are just that team who somehow finds a way. Their special teams, phenomenal. Their defense, we know what they possess. We know how TJ Watt is going to be coming this season. Not this season, this Sunday. Also, pause. If you guys remember at the start of the season, the Ravens O-line looked iffy. They're kind of up and down. You need to be up against the Steelers. But they did get some good film from the Commanders, who were out their 2 starting tackles and still found a way to make it close. With that being said, because of the Lamar Jackson factor, give me the Ravens to go into the Steelers' home territory and beat them. I think it's going to be cinema. I could honestly see the Ravens blowing them out. That is how high I am on the Ravens. And I probably deserve to be knocked down off of them, but I just can't see any other way. I think the Ravens win this matchup. Moving on, you have the Seahawks at the 49ers, a big NFC West matchup. Number 1, the 49ers kicking game is getting crazy. I don't think I've ever seen a long snapper get grabbed by the throat. I saw that last weekend. He didn't like it. I don't blame him. I don't like getting grabbed by a throat. That's not fun. That's a very sensitive part of the body. Getting grabbed by the throat is kind of crazy. But Christian McCaffrey is back. And this is the second week. We saw he looked good the first week against Tampa Bay. But now the Seahawks, they're kind of up and down. They look good one week. The next week, they look absolutely atrocious. The Seahawks need to win this game. Absolutely need to. The 49ers, I want to see them get a convincing win. Not some field goal win. Not some, this was a sloppy game, but we somehow won by 10 with a garbage time touchdown. They need a wire-to-wire, oh my gosh, this is still the 49ers of years past win. And that's what I think happens. Sure, I would absolutely love the Seahawks to go into San Fran and get a dub. I hope it happens. I don't think it happens. Give me the 49ers. Moving on. You have the Falcons at the Broncos. And Kirk Cousins is banged up a little bit. And this might sound crazy, but is it bad that I want to see Michael Penix pop in and play some snaps? I don't think that's crazy. In fact, I think it's pretty cool. I kind of want to see Michael Penix play. The Broncos are still looking for that big statement win after failing to the Chiefs' dark magic. How do you bounce back when you lose a game you should have won? That is something that the Broncos are going to show us. How do they bounce back? Bo Nix probably played one of his better games of the year against a good defense. The Falcons, kind of on a slide, just lost to the Saints. The Buccaneers are still in punching distance for the division. A lot of people, man, were high on the Falcons preseason. I was. And you still should be. But there are a lot of red flags that have been raised. For that reason, give me the Broncos to beat the Falcons. I'm not sure if this is considered an upset, but I'm going to say, give me the Denver Broncos to beat the Falcons. Moving on to the 425. Let me take a sip of my Propel. Game of the week. You have the Chiefs at the Bills in another AFC championship matchup of years past. Harrison Butker has been added to the IR. Harrison Butker is a very consistent kicker. Obviously, he has all the rings with them. That could prove to be a very bad thing. Now you have a different holding, snapping, all of that. Being a holder, I completely understand. Kickers are very, very, very persistent and precise about how they want the ball. Granted, these are professionals, so they'll probably get it down. But the Bills, they need to win this game so they can cement themselves as a top AFC contender. That might sound crazy. They played the Ravens. And what happened? Ravens mollywopped them. Not even close. Josh Allen looked bad. The Bills looked horrible. The Bills have had some pretty bad losses. And now with Butker out and all the people that the Chiefs have out, Isaiah Pacheco coming off the IR, but I'm not sure if he's going to play. The Bills need to win this game. You have the Chiefs at home. This will be a huge win for the franchise. We all know they probably have the AFC East locked up. But this is now going to be the difference between playing the 5 seed or the 7 seed in the divisional, which in the AFC right now, I would much rather, controversial, I would much rather play the Bengals than the Chargers. Much rather. Probably crazy of me to say, but we will get to that because that is the next game. Mahomes, Hopkins, they started rolling. Last week was iffy, but they still keep finding ways to win. That's how the Chiefs do it. They find ways to win every single time. But I just have that feeling in my gut that Josh Allen, this is the year that he takes a leap and he can finally beat Mahomes. Will it be convincing? I think so. I think the Bills beat the Chiefs in convincing fashion in Buffalo on Sunday in front of the whole nation. Fox, 3:25 in Iowa. Give me the Bills. Moving on to our final game of the Sunday slate. A lot of people were kind of pooping on this game for being the nighttime game. I think it's fantastic. You have the Bengals going in to Los Angeles to play the Chargers. Now, I will say, Chargers don't exactly have the greatest home field advantage. Honestly, they don't even have a home field advantage. It's like that Germany game. People just kind of toss on whatever NFL jersey they have and they pull up to the Chargers game. Can the Chargers keep this sort of Linsanity run going? Obviously, the Chargers were going to be a decent team, but Harbaugh has these guys playing hard. The Bengals absolutely need this win. Absolutely need this win. This is one of the top offenses in the league, the Bengals, against one of the league's top defenses in the Chargers. Something has got to break. And the Chargers have a more repeatable game style, gameplay, all of it. They control clock. They get turnovers. They don't turn over the ball. It's a Harbaugh coach team. That's how it always is. The Bengals want to get into a track meet. Joe Burrow versus Justin Herbert. Battle of the top 2 quarterbacks from that draft class. I'm excited to watch it. I understand a lot of people aren't. That's crazy talk. But I think the Chargers win this game. I think that the Chargers are a better coach team than the Bengals, and I feel like this will be the stake through the heart of the Bengals season. So give me the Chargers to beat the Bengals on Sunday Night Football. And that is all I have for you guys. I did not have a Wednesday episode. I wasn't sick. I quite literally started to talk, and I realized I had only talked for 6 minutes, and I ran through everything I wanted to say. I will pivot to basketball season soon, but right now we have so much football that I don't want to drag out a 2-hour episode because no one wants to listen to me talk for 2 hours. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to stretch anything out. I'm going to be concise. I'm going to be to the point. It's the lunch table, right? How many times did we have a 2-hour lunch? We never had that. We had a 35-minute lunch, which is what this video is shaping up to be like, a 35-minute video. With all that being said, thank you guys for the support recently. I'm not sure how many downloads we have, but we've been cooking recently. Have a great day or night whenever you are listening to this. God bless, and Jesus loves you. Peace.